The 2025 New York Mets collapse is complete, and they ended the season in perfect fashion. A team that was lifeless, heartless all year, putting up a big fat 0. The Brewers went out and helped them out and said, here you go, we beat the Reds. Now all you got to do is beat the Marlins. And for a third time in franchise history, in the final weekend of the season, they lost to the Marlins to end a collapse. 07, 08, and 2025. And, it's only fitting that all they had to do was win, and they couldn't do that. All they do is lose, lose, lose no matter what. And this core is going to be changed. Pete Alonso might be gone, and you got to deal with it because things have to change. Jeff McNeil will be traded. Carlos Mendoza is probably staying even though he deserves to be fired. David Stearns is staying. You're not firing a GM after 2 years. He's just got to have a better offseason. He had a bad trade deadline. I thought the moves were all right at the time. They just didn't work. Cedric Mullins was a nothing burger. Helsley stunk. Gregory Soto stunk. They didn't do enough. They didn't get starting pitching help, and they relied on 3 rookies to come up and try to save their season. And Nolan McLean did all he could. He put up unreal numbers. Brandon Sproat did a pretty good job. Jonah Tong was rushed and wasn't ready, but he even came up with 1 or 2 big starts to help this team. But they relied on rookies to save a $350 million team, and you just knew that this team didn't deserve to be in the postseason. And you wanted to get there, of course. You don't want your team to miss the postseason, but now heads will roll. Steve Cohen said to the fan base, hey, I'm disappointed the fans not showing up in a playoff push last year. They showed up in record numbers this year. There were over 3 million fans at Citi Field. There were sellouts every night. The fans did their part. The average attendance per game raised over 9,000 people. That's unheard of. You didn't do yours. And there's going to have to be changes. McNeil, McNeil's gone. Marte gone. Alonso might be gone. Diaz, I think you try to bring back, but the reality is he might be gone. Helsley gone. Mullins gone. There's going to be a lot of change to this roster, and fans have to be comfortable with the changes because guess what? Whatever you've been trying hasn't worked. So get ready. I think the Mets are still going to compete next year. They're going to put the money in. They're going to invest because the fans are investing, so you have to invest. There's no rebuild coming, but it's going to be a different-looking 2026 Mets team, and hopefully one that goes out and wins because this is completely unacceptable. Best team in baseball for over 2 months, and then the worst team in baseball the second half. That's what we got. We got a team that never came back. They went 0-68 or whatever it was after 8 innings. They had no heart, and it felt like any lead of, or any deficit of 3 or more runs, the game was over. And you saw that today. In a game, all they had to do was win and beat the Marlins. And the Marlins said, you know what, we'll knock you out for a third time in the last weekend of the season. We'll be talking about the whole offseason on my show, Mets Daily, on YouTube. Check it out. We'll still be going all offseason long, but the silver lining is we don't have to deal with this anymore. We don't have to watch this team continue to disappoint us for at least 2 more days or 3 more days in Los Angeles. We'll just begin the offseason. We'll begin our vacation